Welcome to the Legacy League's Week 6 pregame Pickem show, sponsored by Sportslook Passing League. Ryan Chichester alongside Greg Horn, Connor Sauer over there on the other end. Clearly we're a little short-handed on the desk today, but not short-handed in good games on slate tonight, so let's get right into them. Speaking of short-handed, we have the Flint Tropics on Court 1 at 6 p.m. Reporting that they're going to be down as much as 4 players, so their deep bench no longer really an advantage, including Mike Bizzuto, arguably their best player. So guys, do they rebound despite being a little short-handed and stop what could be a 3-game losing streak? Or do the double dribblers capitalize on a short-handed Tropics team?
Yeah, I'm picking the Flint Tropics in this one. Even though you just prefaced with a little bit that they're short-handed tonight, and not only are they short-handed, they're missing their two arguably their best players in two Mikes, Mike Bizzuto and Mike Juran, 2 stud players. So we've been talking about all year, Flint Tropics, one of the deepest teams in the league. Now they got a chance to show it. Guys like Vin Gambino and TJ Gianni really gonna have to step up, take a bigger piece of the pie tonight. So I'm still picking them. Hope that they show off their depth against a weaker double dribblers team.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going Flint. I think that Vin really needs to step up tonight. I think he's a catalyst for their team, and I think he's a big third role player, not a role player, but a third piece that really could take them to the next level. I'm interested to see what the double dribblers do with Shooty. He's really playing well, but I just think Flint has more talent overall in the end.
Yeah. We have the line at Flint -7. I'll go with you guys and go with Flint as well. I think this could be a blessing in disguise for them. Mike Bizzuto has been their entire offense the last 2 games, so maybe him not being there will get some of these other guys going for when some more important games come on down the line.
Good point.
Same time, Court 2, we have Fry Time still searching for that first win, and an up-and-coming STP team now at 3-2. We'll put the spread at STP -15. What do you guys have?
Yeah, again, I'm going to go with the favorite here, which is STP, even giving up the points there. Just a really strong team the past 3 weeks, 3 consecutive wins. And I really like what STP does. They run a 4-man squad with two different units there. So I think that's a really good advantage that gives them a lot of depth and always fresh legs out there. And they've been able to rebound and get down low. And they have a ton of size. They're really not undersized at any position. So I just think that their depth and their versatility is going to put them over the top tonight.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think their depth and they're big. They're big men out there. They're not. You see a lot of teams this league. They're small, little scrawny like myself, and their STP reminds me of just an old school basketball team that'll get the job done. They'll play their heart out, and I'm going STP as well.
Yeah, Fry Time could be that team. They're a big team. They just don't know how to use it. So I think that would cost them in a board battle with a team like STP. So I'll go STP as well. Moving on to 7 o'clock, we have Sportslook and Lob 203. They're both coming off essentially a bye week because neither team showed up last week.
Yep.
So Sportslook 3-2, Lob 2-3. We'll put Sportslook -7.5. Greg, how do you think this one's going to pan out?
I'm going to go Sportslook, but I do want to say that I think Lob has talent. They're a good team. Eric Singleton obviously is their star player, their catalyst, but I need more from Paul, John, and Andrew. Those 3 players have played in this league before. I know John and Andrew have for a few years now. And, everyone talks about Eric Singleton. He's a stud player. But for Lob 203, what they need to do to beat Sportslook is, 1, stop Brian Acevedo, and 2, play a team basketball game and take a little of the pressure off Eric Singleton's shoulders.
Yeah, we saw them capable of pulling off upsets in the week 1. They obviously beat Run TMC, so they're capable of doing it. And if Eric can show up and put up the numbers he's been putting up in recent weeks, especially the performance that he gave against Central, if he can mimic that tonight, they definitely have a chance. But I'd pick Sportslook just because I think Brian Acevedo's a beast, a bad boy out there. I think he's going to be the catalyst tonight.
I'm going Lob 203. You said they can pull off an upset. Maybe they don't win outright, but I can see them making this a 1-possession game coming down to the final buzzer. And Eric Singleton, he's shown he can carry this team for at least a few quarters. I get the Brian Acevedo factor, but if you look at the numbers, he's been putting up points, but he hasn't been shooting at that high of a percentage. So maybe a more fundamentally sound defensive team like Lob could take advantage of that. Maybe an extra week off for Acevedo is not going to help with his offensive rhythm. We'll have to see about that. But in the meantime, maybe one that doesn't figure to be too close at 7 o'clock. Court 2, we have sometimes why we just can't seem to get a manageable game on their hands. This is a brutal schedule for them. They have the Monstars now. Monstars coming in at 5-0. We'll put it at -50. What do you think?
We've seen them get 50 points and still losing the spread, losing by 60 plus to No Limit and so forth. So a team like the Monstars, who arguably a lot of people say is the worst out of the 3 undefeated teams left. I don't necessarily jump on that bandwagon yet, but I think that guys like Reggie Stewart and the Langston brothers are gonna, they're just too much. They're too powerful down low, and they don't settle for anything. They're gonna attack the basket, they're gonna hit their open shots, and they're gonna pass the ball. So they play a fundamentally sound game against a way weaker team sometimes. Why? I'm gonna take Monstars even though giving up 50.
I'm going to take the Monsters with the points. I just think Reggie has an amazing game tonight, and that's really all.
I don't really have much to add here, but I'm just going to say I'm going sometimes why. They'll lose by 48. So now we get to some good games here. We have No Limit, 5-0. Some argue they should be number 1 in our power rankings. They're currently sitting at number 2. They take on Run TMC tonight. They're coming off a tough loss. We'll put No Limit at -10. Greg, do they remain undefeated?
Well, I mean, this game has a little bit of backstory, especially with John Rulin, a former No Limit player now on Run TMC. I mean, I remember last year when I watched the All-Star game, after the All-Star game, Will Hudson went up to him and put the TMC jersey in front of him. So I'm really interested to see how these two teams play against each other. With that being said, I'm going to take No Limit, and that's for one reason only. I think Howie Miller will have a game tonight that will be for the ages, and John Rulin needs to step up, and if he steps up and just hits his shots, if Will Hudson can control the boards, slow the game down, maybe make No Limit play at Run TMC's pace, I could see Run TMC pulling it out, but I just trust that No Limit offense too much.
Yeah, there's a famous expression that says the scariest type of animal is a wounded animal, and I think that's what Run TMC is tonight. Their backs are up against the wall. They're in the corner right now. They're 2-3. They need a win. So you're going to see a team tonight that's, they're going to be playing some lockdown defense, I think. I think they're going to be playing really aggressively on offense. I'm not necessarily saying that they're going to overpower No Limit, but No Limit has to be ready tonight because they're going to see a Run TMC team that's going to have to bring out a different type of winning mentality that they've been showing in the past few weeks if they want to make the playoffs as that high seed that they really expected to be when the season started.
They do need a win. They really need a win. They just picked the wrong week to need a win. Yeah. No Limit looks like the best team in the league right now to me. I totally agree with Howie Miller. I think you put him and Carmine Santarelli as the two maybe most effective, efficient shooters in this league. Run TMC had problems making stops last week, and I don't think it's going to get any easier against a team like No Limit. So I'm going to go No Limit. Next, also at 8 o'clock, Untouchables 1-4 against the 2-3 Bad Boys. Let's also put that one at -10 in favor of the Bad Boys. Who's taking this one?
I got the Bad Boys. Untouchables are sort of a one-man show with Chris Rosario. They got, I know Martinez rebounds very well, but I think the Bad Boys have too much depth. Jalen with a triple-double last week. Destin Simmons just showed up last week again and made us all realize why he's one of the most potent scorers in this league. And I also think that the Bad Boys do need to have a presence down low. If they don't have somewhat of a rebounding presence or a paint presence on defense, then it could be a long day for the Bad Boys. But I'm still going to pick them.
Yeah, so I think that presence down low is going to be Matt Shannon for them. He was one of those guys that they added after week 1. They completely overhauled their roster since week 1. So I think honestly, if you looked at this matchup on paper in the beginning of the year, this would have been a very fair and a very competitive matchup. But I think because of the additions that Bad Boys have made with Jalen, with Matt, on top of already having Destin and all these guys, I think that they just have the way stronger team now at this point in the season. And I think I'll take the Bad Boys with the points tonight, giving them up as well.
Yeah, same here. I can see them winning by as much as 20, to be honest with you. I don't see the difference coming near that high in this next game at 9 o'clock, one we're all excited for. We have the 5-0 Brotherhood against Team Moose, 3-2. That one loss is because they didn't show up last week. Okay. But we'll put Brotherhood -7.5. Probably the game of the week. Who's going to win?
Yeah, this is going to be a great game. It's a really good one. I honestly think might be the best defensive team versus the best offensive team. I know that No Limit's up there as well with the Brotherhood, but the Brotherhood haven't lost, so it's hard to not consider them the best. So I think I'm going to go with the Brotherhood on this one, just because the fact that you got Mike Davis, and I hear that the storyline for this one is that Russ Payton might not play, and that's huge because he's obviously the number 2, and he's not just the number 2. He'd be the number 1 on any other team in the league probably if it wasn't the Brotherhood, with Mike obviously right there. So also having Robles out, I think they're going to be a little bit shorthanded on the offensive end, but it's going to force their bench guys to step up. They have a good bench. So I think that tonight is going to be the Brotherhood. Just, they're going to have to overpower Team Moose on that defensive end tonight.
I mean, I've gone back and forth with this pick. I mean, I know Ryan is set in stone with his, and same with Connor, but in the end, I'm going to go Brotherhood, and it's for one reason, and that's experience. They know how to get a win in this league and get the job done, and I just think when it comes down to it, and especially in a game like this against a team like Team Moose that slows the game down, makes you really cherish every possession to make sure that it matters, I think in the end experience will come through, and the Brotherhood will win.
I am setting my pick, and my pick is Team Moose. Experience is good. Team Moose doesn't have much experience in this league, but they've shown down the stretch they can make big stop after big stop on defense. They make their free throws in crunch time, which is going to be huge in a close game like this one's bound to be. So unless Russ Payton has some Michael Jordan flu game where he's a little down and still has a monster game, which is going to be tough against this defense. I love this Team Moose defense. I think history's made tonight and Brotherhood go down for the first time. Also 9 o'clock, we have a team that doesn't look like they're going to go down anytime soon. Central Chocolate, arguably the hottest team in the league right now. They're at 3-2. They take on a Goon Squad team that pulled off a win despite having literally no bench last week. We'll put Central Chocolate at -9 just because of how they've been trending lately. So do they keep that trend going, or does Goon Squad pull out an upset?
This is a hard one again, another one that I'm going to have to go Central just because of Carmine Santorelli. Matt Marconi's playing phenomenal. He's really starting to pick it up again. Moose is dunking like it's his job. I mean, he's been doing that for about 3 seasons now. But Central, with the depth they've added, put that all around Carmine. Last week, I saw a Central team that really looked different to me than the first weeks. I just think that Central's taking a next step in the right direction, and it's dangerous for the rest of the league.
Yeah, I agree. But I'm going to have to take Goon Squad in this matchup with the points. I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Central wins the game outright, but with the points, I think 9 points is enough for Goon Squad where they'll be competitive. That's what they do. They're a gritty team. They always grind. They're going to be right there with you till the very end most of the time. So I think that with a 9-point spread, they're a very appealing matchup to take in this one.
I think it will be close, not much more than this 9 points, but I'm going to go Central Chocolate just because they're on fire right now.
Yeah.
And I get, everyone says, oh, they got off to a slow start. They were 1 possession away from beating Brotherhood team that hasn't lost in this league so far.
They were
So
up 10 too.
exactly. So I don't think it was as much of a slow start as people think, as much as just they shot themselves in the foot for 2 minutes of a fourth quarter.
Exactly.
So now we have a Pickem game, Redemption and Stranger Danger. Redemption lost last week to Goon Squad. Stranger Danger lost their second in a row last week. Can they finally get out of their own way and get a win, or does Redemption move to 4-2? We'll put the line. Oh, it's Pickem.
I'm going to have to go Redemption on this game, and in the weekly previews, I did pick Stranger Danger because I've really been going back and
against
forth.
Flip flop.
But I woke up last night and in the middle of the night realizing Redemption's going to win, and I think their full team effort, the way they move the ball up and down the court, the way they're all on the same page throughout the game, and that's something that Stranger Danger really should take notes from. The more talented team is definitely Stranger Danger, I think, but if Stranger Danger can just prove to me that they can be a complete and full team when the game's on the line and you need a big bucket and they won't turn it over, then I'd feel more confident in picking them. But with that being said, I'm going to have to go Redemption.
Yeah, I'm going to have to pick Stranger Danger for a lot of the reasons Greg already said. They are a very talented team and arguably better than Redemption on paper with their roster. And Redemption's one of those teams that has a lot of experience, obviously being runner-up in the finals last year. And they lost Jalen, but they added guys like Dom Migliaro, who's a very good, capable basketball player to say the least. But I'm going to have to pick Stranger just because I think they're finally due. I know that you're waiting for them to prove it to you, but I'm going to go ahead and predict that it's going to be this week and hope that they're finally due. That's really what it is.
I just don't know how many weeks we can talk about how they're the more talented team. They look good on paper. This just seems like polar opposites. Redemption seems like such a they might not be the most talented, but they always seem like a cohesive team that keeps a level head. Stranger Danger certainly doesn't look the part right now. I'm going to go Redemption in that Pick'em game. Looks to be a close game, though. It should be exciting. And then we end with Flight Club and their boisterous crowd going up against the 4-1 Throne. Flight Club, a much smaller team. We'll give them 15 points in this one. Can they cover?
Yeah, they are a much smaller team, and they're going to be even smaller tonight because the rumor is that Joe Bacciello is making his return for the Throne, and he's obviously a big guy who has handles like a guard and can shoot like a guard. So I think that he's going to be a huge difference maker for them tonight. I remember seeing him week 2. He really opened my eyes to the type of talent that this league has, and he was a real diamond in the rough on that Throne team, and that Throne team has really elevated their game since week 2. And I think he really added a huge confidence to their roster, and now him being back on the floor with them again, I think they're going to be able to ones to pull it out tonight and outscore guys like Jacob Miller and Brandon Guittard for the Fight Club.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree. I mean, Jay-Z just dropped an album, in the words of him, Watch the Throne. I really think you need to watch the Throne. They are coming. This team with Joe Bacciello back, they aren't a team that when you watch them, they're going to flash off the screen. You're going to say, wow, this guy's athletic. But the way they play basketball fits the style of this league. It can really hurt teams in the playoffs, and you've seen it in past seasons where higher-seeded teams run into these teams that are gritty, get the job done, and have a lot of talent, and they'll run into some trouble. And I think that's what the Throne's on its way to.
Yeah, especially with Bacciello back, I think we can put them in that top tier with those 3 undefeated teams. Then you have Moose, Flint, and the Throne, I think, as your legitimate threats to make deep runs in the postseason.
Agreed.
So those are our games tonight. A nice, exciting slate of games. So exciting, apparently Greg can't sleep during the week. So follow us, Legacy_Leagues, on Twitter and Snapchat all throughout the night. And we'll see you later for the post game. Enjoy the games.